Hello, my name is Father Lawrence Jagfeld. I am a Franciscan friar of the Sacred Heart Province, which is headquartered in St. Louis, Missouri. I am also the administrator of CUSA, an apostolate of persons with chronic illness and/or disability. For the next few weeks, we are going to be hearing words from St. Mark's Gospel which are difficult to hear and difficult to understand. Whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if a great millstone were put around his neck and he were thrown into the sea. If your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better for you to enter into life maimed than with two hands to go into Gehenna, into the unquenchable fire. And if your foot causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better for you to enter into life crippled than with 2 feet to enter into Gehenna. And if your eye causes you to sin, pluck it out. Better for you to enter into the kingdom of God with 1 eye than with 2 eyes to be thrown into Gehenna, where their worm does not die and the fire is not quenched. We tend to be revolted by the notion of people maiming themselves, cutting off members of their bodies, plucking out their eyes. But in this culture and in this context, Jesus is really referring to something that is completely outside of our experience. First of all, the word Gehenna. We, of course, refer to hell as Gehenna. But Gehenna was a very specific place. It was the place where the garbage of Jerusalem was burned. It was a smoldering pile of detritus that people avoided at all cost. People except for lepers. Lepers were forced to live on the outskirts of Jerusalem, on the outskirts of any community. They were forced to live in the situation in which the garbage was burned. They were forced to pick through it looking for sustenance, looking for clothing, looking for a way to continue living. Lepers, of course, were people who were outside of the community. They were ritually impure or ritually unclean. Throughout the gospel, Jesus approaches people with various sorts of chronic situations, various sorts of disabilities, and he heals them. He heals people who are lame, people who are blind, people who are lepers. He heals them by his touch. So it is obvious that Jesus has regard for these people. He has regard for them because of the fact that the law of Moses excludes them, pushes them away, something he does not wish to do. So when he uses the example of cutting off a foot or cutting off a hand or plucking out an eye, he's really saying that it would be much better for people to go through life in this unclean situation than to sin, to turn away from him. Loyalty is something that is really very important to these people. And it is loyalty to Jesus of which he speaks today. We might be confused about that because he refers to his disciples as little ones. And oftentimes we think that he's talking about children. He, after all, just used a child in the midst of the disciples last week in last week's gospel, and next week he will talk about children again. Sandwiched in between these two passages from Mark's gospel is this reference to little ones. But it is not a reference to children, because the gospel specifically says, the little ones who believe in me. Children are not capable of placing this kind of loyalty, this kind of faith in Jesus. Jesus is speaking here of his disciples. We are the little ones. We are the ones who are vulnerable to the kinds of sin that he is speaking of this time. So as we listen to the gospel, we realize that he is speaking about the importance of our loyalty, of our connection to him. Remembering again that in this culture, this Middle Eastern way of life, being part of the group is far more important than regarding oneself as an individual. So as we listen to the gospel today, I don't think that we really need to take these words of Jesus literally, but rather we take them as a way of understanding how important it is for us to remain close to him, for us to regard our connection to him as more important than life itself. For more information about CUSA, please visit our website at www.cusan.org.